Hey peeps, welcome back to my channel. My name is Drusilla Shay, if you don't know already. And today I am going to be talking about some ways that you can take care of your clothes so that they last longer. Your girl can keep some clothes for a long time. So I just came here to share some of the tips and tricks that I use in order to make sure that I'm taking the best care of my clothes and just getting that longevity out of it. So we don't gotta waste no more time. Let's get right into it. Tip number one, it is, I think, pretty underestimated how important it is to hang dry certain clothes. Not everything is meant for the dryer. Bras, pants, and delicates are the three things that I always hang dry. Whenever I dry my bras, they don't last as long. They, become more snug way more quickly. And then also for my pants, when I dry them, they shrink. If you've seen my other videos, you may have found out that I'm a tall girl, so I can't really afford to be losing any inches on my pants, all right? And then when it comes to my delicates, they're called delicates for a reason. They can't undergo anything that's too harsh, and sometimes the drying process can be harsh on delicates. And so it's in your best interest, if you have things like satins or silks, delicate items, it would be in your best interest to hang dry those items. And then when they are fully air dried, you can put them away. Okay, so tip number two, when it comes to ironing clothing, wow. When it comes to ironing clothing, not every item takes to heat very well. Certain items, when you iron them, they get this like shiny mark on them. It's too much for the clothing, okay? And then you also have those situations where you may not know how much heat to put on an item, and so you kind of just like roll with it, and then like bam, you just burned your clothes. That's happened to me about 2 times. I learned my lesson. If you don't know the temperature to apply, then I would really recommend that you either start off ironing a really small piece, like at the bottom, at the edge, where nobody will be able to see if something, looks a little bit off, or you start ironing from the inside out so that, anything that happens, the damage will first happen on the inside, okay? And hopefully it won't get that bad to where you can see it on the outside. So in those situations where when you iron certain things, they become like a little bit shiny, I would recommend you use some type of cloth or handkerchief on top of your clothing before you add the iron on. Try not to add the iron directly on pieces that are delicate or pieces that have certain materials. I own pants that are like slacks material, where if I put an iron to it, I will see like a shiny streak. Just know that you can absolutely iron those items. You just cannot put the iron on it directly. Directly ironing it can degrade the material. So the best way to avoid burning our clothes and the best way to avoid decreasing the quality of it is to either just use like a handkerchief on top of the clothes and then you iron on top of it, or if you're not sure about the temperature but it's something that's very safe to iron, then you just start off with like a little piece at like the bottom or on the inside so that you're not creating this big iron burn on your clothing. Okay, so tip number 3, when it comes to items that have like studs and beads, you want to make sure that you're spot cleaning those pieces. You never want to put them in the washer. You never want to put them in the dryer. And some things you can hand wash very gently, but honestly, most of the time when things have like beads and studs on them, they're not gonna make it through the wash processes. So it's probably in your best interest, if it's not like completely dirty, then definitely try spot cleaning it and making sure that you take care of it when you wear it, because it's not gonna be fun washing it, okay, when it got beads all over. Now I do have to warn you, you cannot always rely on the dry cleaners because they will let you know ahead of time. There's a risk in dry cleaning this, there's a chance it might get damaged, and that happened to me once upon a time. I just decided, you know what, they warned me, but it's not really gonna get damaged. Until it did. Needless to say, just learn from me. Speaking of the dry cleaners, you might want to dry clean when needed. I know that not everybody pays attention to the wash instructions for all of their clothing, and a lot of clothing does say to dry clean, but not everybody actually goes forward with that. But for me, okay, I would recommend following the instructions to dry clean, whether that be blazers, dressy shirts, or whatever, because those instructions are there for a reason, and there are just certain things that are more harsh on clothing and can mess up clothing and the quality of the clothing if you put it through a regular wash process. Unless you're like spot cleaning it, that's different. But when it comes to cleaning the whole thing, thing, if it says dry clean, it definitely will help with the longevity of the piece if you do that versus trying to like go the other route and put it in the washer. Tip number 4, keep your white items that are in the closet in garment bags. One too many times I have pulled out a white piece of clothing from my closet and I've had a mysterious yellow streak or stain. Where do they come from? I don't know. I feel like somebody is coming in the middle of the night and like rubbing stuff on my clothes without me knowing, because when I put them in, they're clean, they white, they fresh, okay? But then I keep them in for a certain time and then I pull them out and it's like, what happened to you? Definitely just try to keep your whites in garment bags when they're hanging in the closet, because we don't got time for these stains. Sometimes they go, sometimes they don't. And it's just like, you don't want to deal with that, okay? You want your whites to stay white because they're supposed to be white. So my next tip, something else you should keep in garment bags, leather items, whether it's real leather, faux leather. The reason why I say that, again, all these things I'm telling you guys is from experience. When it comes to leather or faux leather, when they rub up against certain materials for a certain amount of time, they like rub off on the leather. And when I tell you stains on leather is never a good thing. When it comes to like your black leather or faux leather, that's not something that I think you have to, you know, put in garment bags. But if you have like lighter color leathers, like I had a yellow leather skirt, I had a cream color skirt, both of which got, you know, rubbed off on, and unfortunately I had to give it away. When it comes to like those kinds of leathers, not your dark leathers, definitely play it safe. Always put it in a garment bag. It's better to be safe than sorry. That's all I have to say about that. Tip number 7, do not let a stain sit for too long. There are certain stains where you wash it off and it's cool beans, okay, it comes off and your piece is like brand new again. There are some stains though, if you let it sit, it's not a good idea. So example, food stains. Food stains are dangerous, people. We don't want that to sit for too long. Try to spot clean as much as you can before you're putting it in the hamper or the washer, because when those stains sit, they can cause some eternal damage. And by eternal damage, I mean that it might be a stain that's just stuck on there for good. Okay, tip number 8, when it comes to rips and tears in clothes, you might want to also take care of those quickly. If you just let it sit and then you keep wearing the piece and you keep wearing the piece and you keep wearing the piece, those rips are going to turn into bigger rips and they're going to turn into bigger holes. It's better to just take care of it while it's small versus waiting for it to get bigger. Now, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to taking care of your clothes. They also need love, okay? They need maintenance. Take a little thread and needle or take it to your dry cleaners and get it taken care of before it takes care of you. No, I'm kidding. But get it taken care of before it turns into a bigger problem. To also avoid wardrobe malfunctions, get the holes sewn. Okay, so tip number 9. I've had quite a past with this one. Be careful when you're washing your clothes not to put in items that heavily bleed with other items that aren't in the same color scheme. For example, the other time, someone who I'm not going to mention did our laundry and put it in my white piece with my reds, and my white came back pink. I had to soak it with bleach. I had to do all the 9 yards just to restore that white top. There are going to be some items, some may say that, you know, it's just a bad quality item, but you know, we might all have 1 or 2 of them in our closet that bleeds, okay? You don't want to put in that item with other pieces that are different color schemes, unless we're talking like a red that bleeds on black, like that's different. But don't put any lighter colors with anything that bleeds. It's just not a good idea. Okay, my last tip, and I would say this is probably my most important tip. This is really what has allowed me to keep clothes for a long period of time. Have a good rotation of clothes. If you have a good rotation going, chances are you're not going to overwear an item. If you're not overwearing an item, you're probably not going to wear out an item, and you're probably not going to degrade the quality of the item because you won't be washing it as often. You won't be wearing it as often. And so if you have that good rotation going, chances are you'll be able to keep the pieces for longer. If you want to have a small rotation of clothes, I know some people even have capsule closets or wardrobes. That's cool. But what I will say is if you're going to have a tight rotation, if you can afford it, Try to get good quality clothing that you're gonna wear often. If you know, like, okay, this is a shirt I'm gonna wear often for work. This is a shirt I'm gonna wear often for the gym. Try to get good quality. Good quality doesn't always have to be expensive. You just gotta know where to shop. Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Ross, Burlington. Those are all great stores to go get good quality clothing for a cheaper price. If you get good quality clothing, then they won't degrade as quickly, and so you're able to keep them for a long period of time. But if you have a low quality item that you're constantly wearing, it's not gonna make it very far. So either you have a good rotation going on, meaning you're buying more of these clothes so you're not over wearing certain pieces, or you're getting good quality clothes so that you can afford to actually wear them all the time. And also, not everything that has a high price tag is good quality. You have to familiarize yourself with what is good quality so that you can know how to choose certain things. Alrighty peeps, that is it for this video. I hope that it was helpful for you. If you have any tips of your own that you would like to share, I would love to know, because your girl try to preserve the clothing here too. So please go ahead and leave your comments down below. If you found this helpful, go ahead and share it with others as well. And before you leave, I know you're not gonna come here, take all the tips and not subscribe, okay? Press that red subscribe button, and while you're at it, also turn on that bell notification button so that anytime I post, you will be up to date. It's been real. God bless you, and I will see you in my next video next Sunday. Deuces.